Yeah, thanks for taking the time to introduce yourself a little bit. Those who work closely with you in leadership and also touching on your background. It's clear to see that at TokenTraxx, you guys are a team who are well formed with different types of attributes, qualities, qualifications, and you all come together for one vision, right? So, what I really want to find out, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people here are wondering as well, is what is TokenTraxx? If you have all these great people, what is TokenTraxx? What is the mission? And what are you aiming to do?
Yeah. Well, listen, thank you to everyone for joining this and taking some time to hear about what we're up to. So our mission, I think, is also shared by a number of other companies as well. It's to shape a new music industry, a bigger, better music industry that has a greater direct connection between fan and artists, greater efficiencies, and most importantly, more benefit for more people. I mean, a staggering 99.5% of artists earn less than $10,000 from streaming revenues. I'd love to shift that to 99.5% of artists earning more than $10,000 from their Web3 revenues.
Yeah, that's a great vision that kind of turn it on its head and really give the artists what they deserve. And in so many ways, it's kind of people are unaware of that, and maybe aspiring artists are unaware of that. And I'm grateful for this advancement in technology and in this area that we're in. That's a possibility now for artists.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, I think that music's such a passion-driven space, that yeah, people get into it because they love making music, and quite rightly. And people get into it because there are some people who make music and make a ton of money. If you're part of that 0.5% that are successful, then we all know and we all see the big artists, the Stormzys and the Drakes and the Adeles of this world, just having great lives and making a huge amount of money, but and doing something that they love to do that. But the vast majority of artists, sadly, are doing something they love, and because they love it, they keep doing it. But they're also working a day job because that's the only way to have a sustainable living. And what we're seeing now, as I'm sure many people in the audience see and know, is that artists with small, passionate fan bases um, can earn a decent living. If you've got 1,000 fans and they're each willing to invest $100 a year into supporting you in one way or another, then that's a very viable um, career for many people, and an incredibly viable, life-changing, community-changing career if you're from an emerging market. So we hope to be part of creating a completely new economy that transforms not only the music industry but also to some extent the world, because um, there are loads of brilliant artists that come from disadvantaged communities, and those artists making a good living can change their community as well as their own lives.
Yeah, that's such a heartfelt vision and mission to behold, that wanting to also, not only change the artist's life, but it is a ripple effect and a knock-on effect for everyone who's attached to that. Artist and music gives us so much joy. Sometimes it comforts, sometimes it helps us when we mourn, it gives us excitement, it gets us through that workout that we, weren't really keen on doing after having a big lunch. So music plays a big role in our lives, and it's great to hear about TokenTraxx and what it plans to do in the future. But I wonder if we could just maybe just backtrack a little bit and to really just discuss, how do we get to this point? If we look back over the last few decades in the music industry, how has it evolved? How has it led us here and led to the establishment of TokenTraxx?
Yeah. So, I mean, let's go back to, I suppose, through my lifetime, I've been around a while, and when, when I bought my first record, and it was a record, or a vinyl, as we sometimes call them now. That was pretty much the only way you could buy music. So, and so the historical music industry revenues were driven by the sale of physical formats. Started off being records, then along came cassettes and CDs, and for a short while things like mini discs. But really, it was the sale of physical formats was the way that music industry revenues were predominantly made. Then along came Spotify. And well, initially Napster, and then Spotify. If anyone hasn't seen it yet, then I would jump onto Netflix and watch a little mini series called The Playlist, because that will give you an insight into what the creation of Spotify was like and how that was received by the record labels at the time. But that evolution of streaming really turned the industry on its head, in two ways. One, is that it became easier than ever for all of us to discover any music we want. There are 11 million artists on Spotify, and it's just, you could never have a record collection that was that big. Even when I was a DJ and I used to spend hundreds of pounds every week on and get given loads of free records, I never amassed a record collection that has 11 million artists in it. And now I have that for just kind of, just $10 or $15 a month. And so one, it made every piece of music completely accessible. So that's an incredible thing. And second thing it did is that because listening on these streaming platforms is driven by the algorithm, then you get a concentration effect, so that we all end up liking the same thing. Because if all 208 of you that are on here at the moment all listen to the same track, then the next 208 people are also going to get served that same track. And so you get this concentration where global superstars do really, really brilliantly, but lots of the 11 million artists struggle to get their songs listened to in sufficient volume to make a living. And then the other thing that's happened is that back in the day there were loads and loads of independent labels. And like lots of industries, as they mature, then there's been the global consolidation that happens. So there are now like three majors: Universal, Sony, and Warner, who really together control about 76% of the music industry, because they bought up most of the small independents. So all of that kind of are the sort of factors that have led towards this world, that where just 0.5% of artists are earning more than $10,000 a year, and a world in which revenues from live music, live gigs have become a must-have for every single artist. Of course, in 2020, back in the pandemic, there were no live gigs unless they were underground, and so loads of artists had their living just brought to a complete hard stop, and that was what really kind of was the genesis moment for TokenTraxx. Tommy, as an artist himself, as a friend of loads of artists, just confronting this world in which the way they made their living didn't exist anymore. And Tommy's been around the Web3 space for some years, and having sort of had some experimentation with NFTs, started to think around how NFTs and Web3 could help the music industry and help artists to create new connections with their fans and new revenues.
That's incredibly insightful. Thank you for taking us not down a trip down memory lane, but a trip down Abbey Lane and all the music from the days gone by. I always get sidetracked when you mention that statistic of 0.5% of artists earning um, above $10,000 annually. That's really sad if you think about it.
Yeah, it
And
is. It's tragic, right? Yeah.
yeah, especially because it's a craft, it's a gift, it's also people's livelihoods that we're talking about. And I think that's great how with your co-founders, how this led to the genesis of TokenTraxx. And yeah, what let's talk about TokenTraxx offerings to the artists themselves, and maybe as an add-on question to that, maybe to the users as well. And we could just touch on both of that, like how can artists get involved with TokenTraxx by means of what's on offer, and for users who want to support, what does that look like?
Yeah, sure. So TokenTraxx provides Web3 infrastructure for the music industry, and that looks like two things. One, we have our own marketplace for the creation and sale of digital collectibles or NFTs, and the use of those NFTs. So if you hold an NFT, you'll be able to have token gated access to exclusive events and experiences that the artists make available. And that marketplace is really the show home for our infra and tech that we can put into any music community. So, for example, you'll see that same infra in a radio station, like an Ibiza-based radio station called Open Lab. You'll see that same infra in artists' websites, like a boy band called Here at Last that hit number 2 in the indie charts because of their NFT sales this summer, or a humanitarian project like My Sahel, which is in collaboration with the United Nations and raising money for to help people in the Sahel region of Africa who are affected by climate change. Or a record label like CR2, which we'll talk about later, because that's where our collaboration and partnership is being launched. But really, sort of to come back to your question, Jordan, of like how can people get involved and what does the experience look like for a user? I suppose I'll talk about 3 different types of user, and walk through each one. So the first type of user might be an independent artist. They might be someone who's been making music independently, self-funded. Maybe they've got a small community of people that will come to their gigs and follow them on Instagram. But really, they haven't had that breakthrough moment of getting a record deal yet. And they're just starting out in their music career. Then TokenTraxx offers them a way to build direct connections with their community and turn those few thousand community members into a fan base that can help them make a living, and they can release NFTs directly onto the TokenTraxx marketplace, and have their community support them there, and obviously have the combination of our community supporting them there too. The next type of member of our community might be a music community. So that could be a radio station, a record label, a content community, and with TokenTraxx, they can, I suppose, transform their business, which will be predominantly a Web2 or even sometimes not even Web2 business, into a Web3 one by perhaps creating a membership scheme where you could have a tokenized membership or a DAO, and interactions between the members of the community with the business, or have new revenue streams so that the artists that record label has can create their own digital collectibles and series of events. And then the third type of community is a third type of person in our communities. I guess what we all are, which is in one way or another fans and collectors of music. And fans and collectors of music can get involved by I suppose being part of the artists or music communities projects, enjoying what they're putting on offer. And I think one of the benefits of the bear market has been that the offerings that are available from artists now are actually really cool. I mean, yeah, we have Open Lab, for example, who run club nights in Ibiza and London with a NFT membership that gives you access to all of their club nights all year round, which is incredible value for money. We have music managers, legendary music managers, who are tokenizing their time and giving token holders access to their coaching and experiences. We have loads of amazing exclusive music and art. We had an NFT which gave people access to a film premiere a couple of weeks ago. So there's loads of really cool stuff kicking around, and all of us can get involved by enjoying that the cool work that's on offer, and some of it supports great causes too. So the My Sahel NFT, for example, creates proceeds that help people that really need it. So yeah, a bunch of cool things that people can do. And then I guess the final way that all of us who are in this space can get involved is that we have a native token at TokenTraxx called the Trax token. That's a utility and exchange token that I guess is the glue between all the different nodes on the network, all these different music communities, all using the same technology, all powered by the same token. And we it works a little bit like the Ethereum of the music industry. There's a transaction fee in Trax every time assets are traded on the Trax protocol, so there's the opportunity to become part of the community by being a member of TokenTraxx, holding some of the Trax token, and receiving benefits like rebates on your streaming services, or regular NFTs delivered to you every month or quarter.
Wonderful. So many great use cases for the Trax token, and not only just use cases, but also stories and great stories of, like, for us to hear. And maybe these are some of the stories that we need to hear, and we need to know that you have an artist who has his NFT music. I believe you said in the top two last week, and different types of memberships for film premieres and getting into certain events. That's really impressive to see, especially when it's certain type of individuals and players and well-known corporations involved as well. It's a great image for DeFi in itself. And I was about to ask you about the token, but thank you also for touching on that as well. So we've got about 5 more minutes because I've got a kind of a soft stop at 5:30 CET. So I was wondering that this could be a good time to leak some alpha, Tim. I'm not too sure how much I can say with regard to CR2 and what's coming up. So I thought maybe you could mention a bit about our plans, and I'll let you decide how much alpha to leak right now.
Yeah, look, listen. The whole point of this is to share some of this with with all of you who've joined us here, and we're grateful for the fact that you've invested some of your time into learning. So the least we can do is share a bit of information with you. So the I guess the news is that number one, the Li.Fi widget is going to be implemented within the TokenTraxx technology. So Trax Studios, our white label marketplaces, and the TokenTraxx marketplace will have Li.Fi's widget in. The reason that's important to us is we have learned and believe that whilst many of us are passionate about one chain or another, the broad user is very vanilla when it comes to different chains, and they want to be able to buy different assets on different chains and have all that in a frictionless way. And the Li.Fi widget really helps us deliver that. So you can come TokenTraxx with any coin and buy the NFT no matter what it's priced in. And then the way that we are celebrating that with all of you and with the team is that we have a really cool marketplace coming up with a record label called CR2. CR2 are a niche label that is focused on in the dance music. They've got some great artists on there, sort of legendary artists like Carl Cox, and also an artist called Matt Sassari. Matt Sassari, check him out on Spotify. He's got like 9 million monthly users. Maybe, Jordan, we can send a few links around to everyone after this is finished. But yeah, he's done a bunch of great music that you'll have all heard in one nightclub or another, and he's got an absolutely awesome NFT drop coming up in the middle of October, which will be exclusively available initially to members of the Li.Fi community who've joined us here. The NFT collection includes sample kits. It includes masterclasses from Matt. It includes merch like t-shirts, and then there's one platinum NFT which actually includes a gold disc with artwork. So an unreleased promo track, some personalized video congratulations from Matt, and guest list to Matt Sassari's events. And if you're a musician or knows a musician, actually a mastering service provided by this legendary artist who's been so successful and got to 9 million monthly users on Spotify. So yeah, I think it's a really cool project. But there's kind of two really cool pieces of alpha here. One is that Li.Fi and all of that multi-chain functionalities coming to TokenTraxx, and will be, I think, the first player in the music space to be doing that. And then secondly, that we're celebrating that with this amazing drop from the artist Matt Sassari, and making that available to the Li.Fi community first before anyone else can use it.
Yeah, well, you did indeed share all the alpha. That's extremely exciting, guys. So you'll be able to mint an NFT no matter what source chain that you're coming from. We're multi-chain maxis, and we're really excited to be partnering with TokenTraxx for this and for our exclusive drop with Matt. Sorry, for some reason I couldn't share a link from my Spotify and my Apple Music and all of that, but I've shared a YouTube link. I hope you don't mind, Tim. I'll share some more links with the community as well as the day goes on. But yeah, guys, so you will all be whitelisted for that exclusive drop. And as Tim has mentioned, there's tons of perks and exclusives. And we've been working really, really hard on this. So take advantage of this. Something exclusive for the LI.FI and Jumper community. And yeah, like Tim, it's just been great to be able to work alongside you and your team. And we're excited to see this go live.
Yeah, definitely. Really excited to see it go live. Thank you to all of you for joining us here today. Do check us out at TokenTraxx. Join our community too. Tell us what you think about what we're doing. Love to hear your feedback and have you join us on this journey of transforming music.
Wonderful. Well, hey, we're happy to be on the journey too. Community, I dropped the TokenTraxx official website in the chat here as well. But Tim, from myself and the LI.FI team, thank you so much for coming on stage here today. We hope to do this again soon, and long may the partnership continue.
Likewise. Thanks, Jordan. Thanks for your time, and thank you everyone for joining us. Look forward to the next few weeks and getting this partnership kicked off. See you guys.
Cheers. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning out. See you next time. Cheerio. Bye.
Bye.